Hello, my friends. We are live once again. This is a Fred Hampton Leftist special edition Saturday. I hope you guys enjoyed the Facts and Fire podcast with Afeni. She was on fire as usual. Name is as advertised. I'm glad you guys are enjoying the content. I'll let you pause that in the background. But I am happy to introduce. We have them on the show a few weeks ago. The Poor People's Army. We had Cheri Honkala here and Shamako. Thank you guys for joining Fred Hampton Leftist once again. How you guys doing?
Thank you for having us.
I'm good.
Doing great. Doing great.
So for people who are new, I am a big fan. I'm a big supporter of the work that the Poor People's Army do because they all about taking people power and challenging the ruling class and taking what is ours. But I want to give this opportunity for you guys to describe the kind of work that you guys are doing and why do you think it's so important. So I'm gonna give the floor to Cheri first, just so people have a good idea what the Poor People's Army is all about. What is your guys' core philosophy? What kind of work are you guys are interested in doing? So the floor is your church.
We see ourselves as revolutionaries. We're not a part of the nonprofit industrial complex. We've organized ourselves similar to the peasant army in Chiapas, known as the Zapatistas, except for, we live in the U.S. and we're not dumb. We can't take up arms right now. But we organize to take back the basic necessities of life. We think things like food, clothing, housing, healthcare, all of these things shouldn't be up for negotiations. So we gather together and we reclaim these human rights. So for the last 30 some years, we've been taking over abandoned properties, creating the new Underground Railroad, and housing families. So you won't find us in a lot of round tables having, just like
Get out the vote planning sessions.
You bad.
Just throwing it out
So,
there.
so you guys are telling me that voting will not save us? That the Democratic Party is not the route to our salvation? Is that what you guys are telling me?
Yeah, especially after I just met with somebody from the sheriff's office here in Philadelphia. And the bulk of what we discussed was he himself works for the sheriff.
I think he was muted.
Yeah, you broke up just the last section. Can you repeat that?
We talked about the corruption in the sheriff's office.
Oh.
So, yeah, and just, all the stealing of the properties and that kind of stuff by the politicians. And he talks about the number one thief here in the city of Philadelphia when it comes to abandoned properties is the Democratic Party. So these are going to be, he's interested in supporting our lawsuit.
And I just want to throw something in on the Democratic Party since it came up. I think a lot of folks, going all the way back to like the days of Jesse Jackson, right? I think a lot of folks have really made sincere efforts to try to transform the Democratic Party into something that will actually defend the people at a grassroots level. And over again, we've seen betrayal after betrayal. Even this most recent situation with the housing moratorium, and I we should probably talk a little bit about that. But in the long term, what we know for certain is that the Democratic Party has the same sort of corporate masters that every other party has.
So yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on that whole episode? Because right now there are a lot of progressives that are dancing and claiming victory because Cory Bush forced them to extend it. The argument that we make, the argument that Finney was just making on a podcast on Fox and Fire, was there are a lot of people that are still slipping through the cracks. There was people slipping through the cracks, even on the old moratorium, but now this moratorium is even weaker, where it's supposed to be targeted to specific communities. Now, I had a moral objection to the moratorium extension because this is the difference between the way we think and the way the liberal mind establishment thinks. Because they said we need to extend the eviction moratorium because the spread of the COVID pandemic. Now, I'm not saying that it's not a reason why we should extend something like this, but that should not be the reason. That's the reason that the mainstream media was pushing out there, that the Democratic Party was pushing out, because of COVID-19, we must extend the eviction moratorium. Where I come from, we not only should extend the moratorium, we need to do much more because homelessness is a moral crisis. You guys see how they don't connect that as a moral issue? They just see, oh, COVID-19 is out of control, so we got to do something about the homelessness. No, it's COVID-19 has nothing to do with it, as far as I'm concerned. Like, we should take care of homelessness because it's a moral failing of the country. What's your take, Cheri, on the eviction moratorium and everything that expired? I have a lot of thoughts, but I toss it to you.
Yeah, I'm so angry. I'm just so angry. It's just like, um, you know, poor people and people from the hood. We didn't matter before COVID. We don't matter during COVID, and we're not going to matter after COVID. And that's just the way it is. Literally, it's class warfare. They're going to take and build as many luxury units as possible. They're using this. They need more time, not so that people can, uh, get their act together or whatever for the next 2 months. This is for the Great Reset. They need to get ready to do their online sheriff sales of properties in a much faster way, to flip the houses, to turn them into luxury units. So yeah, this is not about COVID. They don't give a damn about any of us, and they certainly don't give a damn about housing any of us.
You know what I found funny? A lot of people wasn't covering this, but I was looking at the details of the extended eviction moratorium, and it says a lot about their mindset and how the inefficiency of capitalism. That's probably the best way to put it. Because they allocate $47 billion that goes to landlords in this moratorium for rental assistance. Now you can literally house homeless people and solve the homelessness crisis with $20 billion. So under our system, under the system of capitalism, we are spending over 2 times that to give to landlords instead of just fixing the homelessness crisis. Isn't that a giant index of our society, right?
Yeah, and a lot of these, like in Philadelphia, the sheriff's office here is basically a slush fund for the Democratic Party, and to have deeds passed out to your friends and a part of the political machine. And the emergency rental assistance program. I talked to a guy that's getting ready to retire because he's tired of it, but people weren't getting their money strictly because of mismanagement. So all of these programs, they've got, tons of money to do something, to at least put a Band-Aid on this tsunami that's about to come, and they won't even do that.
One thing I want.
Yeah,
go ahead,
and just to jump on that. I mean, what's the argument for not housing people, right? Because when that question is laid on, I mean, because the problem's completely solvable. I know you've probably made 19,000 jokes about this, but obviously Jeff Bezos just went to space. Serves literally no purpose for anybody anywhere, and for some reason that seems to be like a more laudable action or a more respectable action than like a real basic human like a real basic show of humanity, right? And it almost makes me feel like if they were to respect housing as a human right, it undermines the basis, like the fundamental basis for capitalism, right? Because we're chasing. It's like we have to chase the carrot. It's like having to hold our basic needs, just basic needs, in order to keep us spinning on the hamster wheel. You know what I mean?
That's well said. I want to ask you guys about the housing takeovers that you guys do, especially under the midst of the housing crisis that we have going on right now. The homelessness crisis is something obviously that politicians avoid talking about because homelessness to people are not reliable voters and they're not reliable donors. That they don't care about fixing the problems because the only thing they care about is their electoral power. We even see that with some progressives. So a message I've been putting out there, I tell people, I really believe that we gotta find a way to survive this capitalist hellhole. There's a lot of people on the left that are still stuck in 2015, where they're still chanting, "We gotta have gotta do this, we gotta do this." But right now, things are so bad. The climate crisis is so bad. We need to start focusing on mutual aid. We need to focus on how to take care of ourselves as a community to survive capitalism. Right now, a lot of progressives want to focus on electoral politics. They said we got a 15, 20-year plan to get Medicare for all. We got 15, 20-year plan to stop the military industrial complex. They're not realizing that we do not have that time. That people are dying right now. People are going homeless right now. People are being bombed right now. The climate crisis is already too late to solve. So people say, "What's your solution?" Oh, you just all doomer. I'm not all doomer. I want to get you guys to acknowledge that you cannot trust a system that is meant to implement white supremacy, to implement state violence to save us. So when I see you guys promote stuff like housing takeovers, I see that as a way for people to take their own power back. So can you guys explain the concept of housing takeovers and how you guys are able to be successful doing that?
Cheri?
Well, literally right now, the whole world is coming to us in every city across the entire country. So we're very overwhelmed. And, I said this before on the last show, the sheriff's department, the East Detectives Unit, and the feds are holding weekly meetings about us. And somehow or another, we're thankful for programs like yours because this has not been embraced by the progressive community.
Surprise, surprise.
Now, if we were going to have a workshop or talk about policies, and that indicates one thing to me, is we are actual poor people. So we can't afford to have, just constant mental masturbation conversations about what's happening. Like you said, I mean, this is life and death issues. So we identify abandoned properties that are owned by Housing and Urban Development or are owned by the city and the sheriff's department. And we take them back because those are our properties. This is our government. And chances are they stole those houses in the beginning through discrimination, through land grabs, through only caring about developers and speculators and people that can contribute to financial campaigns. So that's what we do. We move families constantly, and we teach people on Zoom calls how to do it themselves in other parts of the country. And, we go to, for people's first takeovers, we go to different parts of the country and show them a lot of the technical stuff that they need to know as well.
That's amazing that you guys do that. That's the kind of stuff that I believe the left should be pushing, advocating for. And I love how you, I mean, you honestly just call these people out because they don't. Like I still want to see the project. There's some people that say it's a failed project to having a strong lefty in position of power. My argument is that we haven't seen it yet. Like imagine if we had someone in the position of ALC who was pushing housing takeovers instead of propping up the power within the Democratic Party. Now, I want to I want to ask you guys this, because your guys' organization is really focused on uplifting poor people leadership, and you are focused on building solidarity and unity amongst the left. And that's been one of my biggest criticisms of the Western left, is that they only fight for some things. Like, it seems like the Western left, as we know it, well, I should say the United States left, to be clear, it's ran by a bunch of managerial class, privileged people who want to save a little bit of money on healthcare, boost wages probably, but when it comes to actually standing against state violence, they are more willing to fold on those issues. They are more willing to stay silent on the issues of the illegal foreign policy that we do when we bomb other countries. Just for example, the free press crackdown, the Fourth Amendment crackdowns. So there are real consequences to these policies that the United States implement, and these policies are usually impacted in Black and brown communities. So when you have progressive leaders who do not talk about the expansion of the police state, that has a very negative consequence for the Black community. Now, understand, I have a pretty big ask, because I am asking these people of power to stand in solidarity with a lot of people in these communities that are forgotten. It's easier just to focus on the mainstream progressive issues, but you cannot challenge ICE only when Republicans are in charge. You cannot be silent about ICE when just because you got Joe Biden in charge, even though they're expanding ICE budgets, you got information of slave labor. So it'd be one thing if you had a hard time pushing back on all these issues. But what I see out of the United States managerial left is they actively get mad at people who discuss strategies outside the Democratic Party when it comes to finding a path to our liberation. So it's kind of this anti-unity. It's this anti-solidarity where they tell us to shut up and trust the plan. Shut up and fall in line. And that's kind of the exact opposite that you guys preach to the 16 points of unity. So I want to ask you guys, the floor is yours, so you can explain the 16 points of unity, because I think this is so important for the left. So I'll give it to you, Cheri. Where you want to start? The 60 points of unity. What can you teach us about it?
Well, it took a struggle to get there, but we thought it was really important, because anybody that does any kind of work out here in the world, it's so easy to get caught up on the wrong escalator, and you can't get off because you get caught up focusing and doing and headed in the wrong direction. And so that's why, like, we really struggled with each other about, what does it mean? What do we need to be doing right now in this country, and how are we going to get there? And I'll throw the ball over to Shamako, and then I'll come back.
Yeah. So yeah, Nick, I'm glad you asked about this. So for folks who don't know, we have 16 points of unity. It can be found on our website, poorpeoplesarmy.com. We also have it floating around on our Twitter page and our Facebook page. And is it cool if I just read a couple of them, right? If I just put a couple of them out there?
Yeah, I was about to find it, but I think the website might be down. Or I don't know what's going on. I was about to pull it up, but I can't. I was trying to see if I can find it on Twitter.
Yeah.
But if you want to read it, that's fine.
I just want to talk about a couple of them in the context of this conversation. So, our second one is we identify and address the root causes of our poverty. And I think that, for instance, that one, when we're talking about how the Democratic Party, right, and how a lot of the liberal left deals with the symptoms of problems as opposed to the root causes of problems, right? And so we want to prioritize understanding and addressing, like, the core structural issues that generate poverty to begin with, which, just to be clear, is not anything new. MLK was big on that, right? People always want to lift up MLK and not address the fact that he was an anti-capitalist. But I think another really important one, specifically related to this conversation, is number 4. We are building a movement that enacts the future that we want to see, one based on a cooperative economy and society. And I mean, I think at the very heart of capitalism is cooperation. I mean, sorry, competition, right? Uh, which in essence is just, us eating each other alive instead of finding ways for us to support each other's not just survival, but thriving. And just to throw this one out here, Nick, because you're out here doing this, right? Number 9, we are committed to making and controlling our own media.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, right. And it's funny too, right? So, I used to work.
Hey, Cheri, do you mind muting? Just got here some comments. Do you mind muting the mic by chance, just so we can eliminate outside noise? There we go. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Sorry guys, but we got that fixed. But go ahead.
No, you're good, and thank you for that. When we talk about like corporate owned media, right? I think a lot of people. So I used to work with. I was a co-founder of an organization called Hip Hop Congress, and we used to have this campaign. It was called "What the Bleep Happened to Hip Hop," and during this campaign, we talked a lot about the 1996-97 Telecommunications Act, right, which came under a Democrat, specifically Bill Clinton, and which basically supported the consolidation and ownership of media under smaller and smaller banners, right? And I think people forget that a lot of the most economically damaging policies that we've seen in the last 25, 30 years have actually come under the Democratic Party. So, I think that one of the values of the 16 points of unity is that when played out to their conclusion, they really point to and develop political clarity. And Nick, I think that we can agree that a lot of the challenges that we face in this country politically are just that a lot of folks are outright confused.
Yeah, and what I see and why I think the 16 points of unity is so important, and I believe this is on purpose. The mainstream political establishment gives working class people bad advice on purpose.
Yeah,
where they want us to have oppression Olympics, because I was having a conversation with black nationalists, and I had strongly disagree. I had to strongly push back a lot of these black nationalists who are like anti like immigration, or they're like anti. The only thing they care about is one issue, and we got put back against that, because we got to build a coalition of people to stand against the white supremacist, violent military industrialized system that we live under right now. And we have leaders like MLK, we have leaders like Fred Hampton that all preach about building these coalitions. And there are some people that are just giving bad advice where they just want us to be all divided. And you think you're going to challenge the corporate power when we all divided movement. That's just one of many examples of that.
Yeah.
One other point, like I'm super frustrated. I'm mad I couldn't get this pulled up, but I remember one point, and I'm kind of summarizing it, because I don't have it right in front of me, but I love how you guys said that a very important point of unity that you guys have was standing up against the U.S. imperialism and the United States war machine. I don't remember exactly what number that was, but you guys mentioned how standing against militarism and endless war is a giant important part of standing in solidarity, and we need to have an international left-wing movement, which is why I think a lot of people, especially a lot of the Justice Democrats, a lot of the United States progressives, they tend to forget. They always want to focus on just domestic, but you have to focus on international left. I had a conversation with Kareem Batesh. We're actually going to have another episode, another follow-up episode we're going to do with Kareem Batesh, where we're actually talking about building an international left, international solidarity left, where if you're not focusing on the human rights violations of outside this country, you are missing a giant part of what it means to be a leftist. So anyone want to jump in and chime in on what I was mentioning? Do you guys don't, I don't have it right in front of me, but you guys mentioned fighting U.S. militarism in that points of unity. Do you guys want to just touch on that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Sure. I'm gonna let you answer the question, but just to because I have them in front of me. Where is it? We support the International Poor People's Movement as we work locally. So just to anchor one of the principles that speaks to that. But go ahead, Cheri.
Yeah. Some of
It's number 3.
best ideas to get us off this treadmill to nowhere has been our international relationships, has been breaking bread with brothers and sisters all over the entire world. We've been a part of the World Court of Women, where peasant men and women in different parts of the world that have been victims to armed conflict all over the world, and us suffering here because of the money, of course, that's spent on killing poor people that travel from this country to go fight rich person's war in some other part of the world. Ends up making us and them suffer. And I think one of the things that we've really learned from some of our international relationships is we underestimate how dangerous it is to be working here in the belly of the beast, where if you talk to somebody that's, in Palestine or in Venezuela or wherever, they're quick to remind us that, we're organizing here in the belly of the beast. And our government is, dangerous. And so they understand that we can't just do this, north to south solidarity thing anymore. It has to be, we have to have reciprocity. It has to go back and forth. And I got a guy coming up to the car. My God. And in an effort to save ourselves and to really, do our part for the rest of the world, is to, finally get serious about getting off the treadmill and doing some righteous organizing and reclaiming these things. Otherwise, these same billionaires and gajillionaires are going to continue to, put an end to, the planet that we live on. And that's no joke. I mean, we're out of time. We see everything, is burning up, and no place for people to live, and no way for people to eat. And that's an international experience.
Well said. I appreciate that. And I want to make sure I bring this up before we run out of time, because I know you guys have a lawsuit. You guys are suing the state. I want to make sure that we get it accurately explained. So I want to talk to you guys to explain the lawsuit that you guys currently are fighting, and just give us some background in any way that we can support you guys in your fight.
Sure, you want to do a quick overview, and I can get into the 5 points. Oh, I think you're muted. Sure, I think you're muted. There you go.
Can you say that again?
Yeah, I said, can you want to do a quick overview, and I'll cover the 5 points.
16 points of unity.
Oh, we were talking about the case, yeah.
The case.
Okay, I'm sorry. I had the guy at the window needing help. Oh my God. So basically where we're at right now is, oh my God, this guy is gonna run into my car.
I'm saying, hope safe now.
Oh my God, I don't know what's going on here. I'm sorry. So basically what's happening right now is we're soliciting different amendments to the case, where different people have found out that we're doing the case. And so people from like the disability community, people from perhaps some veterans. Hopefully this guy, not hopefully, but this guy that actually works in the sheriff's department is going to be helping talk about the corruption that's happening. So a lot of amendments are being introduced right now, and we've got an amazing lawyer. And we thought by now they would be trying to kick this thing out of court. They haven't been able to kick it out of court yet. So we're going to subpoena the hell out of everybody and anybody. And we are going to put the issue of housing and the lack of it for people in this country on trial.
Yeah, and just to anchor this, currently the lawsuits are against HUD, federal HUD, HUD Secretary Marcia Fudge, the Philadelphia Housing Authority, HSBC Bank, Serrano Acquisitions LLC, and the First Judicial District of Pennsylvania, and of course the city of Philadelphia, that's a lot. That is a big multi-headed kraken right there. But I mean, to be engaged in this case at a time when 10 million people are consistently on the precipice of homelessness and houselessness, I think is unprecedented.
Yeah, I mean, in all seriousness, it's a rough thing, getting up every day and trying to figure out where more and more people are going to live. Not that part, but not knowing, when the bad boys come for you.
Yeah.
It could be, that's just, it's hard to plan things like birthday parties or taking a few days off, that kind of stuff, because you never know when they're coming.
And I don't know about you, Nick, but in this game, sometimes you tend to get a little paranoid. So when we're doing this interview with Fred Hampton Leftists, and it just so happens that our website is down.
Yeah,
I was
the whole time I was frustrated trying to get it work, but I don't know what that was about because I was about to pull the Unity up.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that's about, but
I don't either.
We have your back because you guys are really fighting the power, and that's super weird that happens soon as we get on. Because I wanted to look at
it is super weird, except it's not, right? It's not.
Yeah,
weird,
you know what it is.
I'm saying? But just one thing I want to throw out there. So normally what we would say is, so we have a petition going currently. The thing with the court case is it's not an election, right? So we can't be like, go out there and vote. But if folks want to donate, or we currently have a petition in support of the housing takeovers, both of which are on our website. Even if you can't go now, poorpeoplesarmy.com. Check us out on Facebook, on Twitter. We're on Instagram. Nick, we appreciate you. We appreciate the work you guys do. Love your show. Cheri, you have anything you want to add? Cheri, did you disappear? Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I love that you guys are actually taking this fight on a civilian level at power.
Yeah,
a lot of people that want us to be pacified, and what I see out of your organization, you guys said screw the pacification. We got to fight, and that's why we got you guys back. And I want to highlight these direct action efforts instead of just trusting politicians. There are a lot of people that just want the tranquilizing drug of trusting politicians and thinking electoral politics will save us. So I want to do anything we can to help you guys out because actions like yours, actions like Affinities, like Tour for the Poor, what we do with Rome, this is the step forward. So last word, Cheri. Anything else you want to send us off before we send you off here?
Help out there. We've got a silly video going around, an infomercial. I don't know if you've seen it. Hopefully Shamako can shoot it to you. We need that to get out. We want it to try and go viral. We want people to have this conversation about housing as a human right in this country.
Thank you guys for coming on. I'll stay on a little bit longer, take some questions, but thank you guys for coming on. It was a pleasure talking to you guys, and good luck.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Nick. Appreciate you, man.
Cheri Honkala, ladies and gentlemen. Always great to talk to these people. I'm very upset that the website went down. They are challenging power on the highest levels, challenging landlords. Cheri on the last episode explained how many times she been personally arrested. If you guys don't know, Cheri Honkala, it was a 2012 Green Party vice presidential nominee, and I'm mad that we didn't get a chance to get into it like in the weeds by having like it up on the website. But the entire point of the 16 point of unity um, discusses everything that I have a problem with with the Western left, the United States left for not doing. So it was super good talking to Cheri Honkala. If you guys enjoy this conversation, subscribe. Check us out on Ko-fi. That's another great way to support us as well. One last thing that I wanted to talk about before I sign off here is this new study that tells us not much, but I don't understand why we are afraid. And when I say we, I mean the progressive Western left is so afraid to have this national debate about healthcare. Now, this study came out a few days ago. Studying the report ranked U.S. dead last in healthcare among richest countries, despite spending the most. So, as someone who has been a healthcare activist, someone who has written about healthcare for quite a long time, this is not news to me. But this is the argument that we got to keep making. We got to continue to grill on the public. There is no defending the United States healthcare system. When I gave my speech at the Medicare for All rally in Kansas City, I told people when I see Democrats claim that we have no way to pay for Medicare for All, when they claim Medicare for All is unaffordable, like that's to me, as far as I'm concerned, that lie is no different from like any lie that Donald Trump would tell. To me, I see all of them as liars. But even though I already knew this stuff, it's good just to continue to have people that back these studies to continue to back us up. This also ties into the Nina Turner race. Like we need to be calling out and making a difference between Nina Turner and Chantel Brown on this issue. And if we force the vote, if we support the March for Medicare for All and force the media to talk about this, that's something we can do. Because you guys know, I already talked about this on our Thursday roundtable. The entire excuse of Nina Turner losing just because of dark money, it's just an excuse to me. And the idea that she couldn't overcome a conservative Democratic district, even though Democrats support Medicare for All at a 4-5 clip, I don't buy that. I just think it's bad strategy. I think it's incompetence at the highest levels. When we look at Jeff Weaver, for example, because why aren't we forcing a debate on this when we got study after study continue to show that our system, the system that Joe Biden props up, will be the worst in the world, period. Last among the 11 wealthy countries, despite spending the highest percentage of gross domestic product. So can someone explain to me why, as the progressive left, we would not want to have this conversation on the national level? So critics of forced to vote, deeply unserious people. These people, their claim is that, okay, so even if we do force a vote on healthcare, it won't accomplish anything. So if we force a House for a vote, especially through the mechanisms in which we was going to do it, by denying Nancy Pelosi her role as Speaker unless she forced the vote, that will cause massive media attention. And that will put the onus on people who are against Medicare for All, aka Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi, to actually explain their position, despite studies after study like these showing Medicare for All is the winning move. So someone explain to me, how is this a losing situation for the left? Explain fuck the bill. But do you guys understand how much media attention that would have gotten? So these people say forced to vote failed. Forced to vote did not fail. Forced to vote was never tried. That's the difference. Now, if we force the floor vote on Medicare for All, they say, well, what will happen is you have Democrats that would pretend they are for Medicare for All. And they'll vote yes, even though they're not for it. Okay, that only helps. What you guys saying makes no sense. So when you have public officials go on record, that is a show publicly that this policy, you have to support it in order to stay elected. And we've seen last election that all the Democrats that supported Medicare for all, they won, while the Democrats who did not support Medicare for all lost. So now that's an argument that we can make. Like, either you support Medicare for all or you lose. So the idea that people will lie about supporting Medicare for all and that would hurt us, how does that make sense? So if they have to lie to say they support Medicare for all, that makes our point that they have to lie to support Medicare for all in order to win. These are the kind of things that they don't think about. Secondly, by the way, the people who claim that they support Medicare for all, even though they don't support it, they are irrelevant. Well, the people we are trying to publicly humiliate would be Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden. The people that we all know do not support Medicare for all. These people do not support Medicare for all. So they're not going to lie about it when the floor vote happened. So we want Nancy Pelosi and we want Joe Biden to go in public. We want the reporters to call them out. Hey, you don't support Medicare for all. Why you don't support Medicare for all in the middle of a pandemic, despite this stunning new report that shows that Medicare for all would save money, and despite the fact that the system that you prop up ranks dead last in the world. That's the debate that the progressives are scared to have. Just to emphasize, they are scared to have this healthcare debate. Now you see why the people who go against forced to vote are deeply unserious people. And I've been intellectually curious to the point where I have forced myself to watch Sam Cedar in Majority Report just so I can hear their arguments against it. Because I'm not one of these people that like to go in the echo chamber. And guys, I am not exaggerating when I say that show is bad. Like, everything I just laid out right here is the argument that Sam Cedar made on why we shouldn't support forced to vote. And you guys see how easily I just dismantled that? Sam Cedar, his argument was, what was the point of forcing a floor vote? I just explained to you guys the point. Sorry, I know you guys are like, what? I can't believe you did. As a citizen journalist, as someone who takes my role in this as a commentator seriously, I do have to hear counter arguments. So unlike them, with Sam Cedar and their crowd, the anti-forced to vote crowd, they are deeply unserious intellectually because they don't even understand our argument. And that's clear when I watched Sam Cedar's video. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, he released it a few days ago. Another Jimmy Dore diss video, we talk about forced to vote. And it's all horrific straw manning of our position. And a giant part of what he was saying was we should not enforce the vote. We should not do that because the bill wouldn't pass. That's not the whole point. Is so we can put pressure on politicians so they will have to explain why they support our healthcare system that ranks last. So you understand that this backs up your strategy, right? This is why I don't understand Sam Cedar and these people who are sympathetic to the Democratic Party, why they go after us. Because our strategy helps you out. Why are you guys losing these races? Dumb left. You guys are the dumb left, by the way. We are losing these races because the voters see no difference between Shontel Brown and Nina Turner. Why do the voters see no difference between Shontel Brown and Nina Turner? Because you guys are not forcing national debates on these policies we disagree with. Instead, you're just focusing on the vote. Bro, if the floor vote happened, you would, especially with the help of independent media, especially if we had actual coordinated progressive left, that would have made this a big thing, where AOC tweeting about this all the time, Rashida Tlaib tweeting about this all the time, Bernie Sanders tweeting about this all the time, they will be forced to cover this. And it will be a national debate, the same way we have these phony debates right now over whatever is in the news. So you guys are wondering why Shontel Brown defeated Nina Turner. She defeats Nina Turner. We continue to lose these races because the average voter do not see the difference between a neoliberal candidate and you. Oh, it's conservative Democrats. If it's because of that, if that's the reason why you lost, why was voter turnout so low? You guys notice that these progressives just want to make excuses for their favorite politicians? If it was because of conservative Democrats, why did only 60% voter turnout came? Why you had low voter turnout? These things don't add up. You guys' excuses do not add up. That's what it's about. These people are running a campaign to apologize for Jeff Weaver. These people are running a campaign to apologize for Nina Turner. I'm gonna let people know. A campaign to protect Jeff. Right? That's what all the people that come up with excuses on why they lost. That is not the failure of progressive management. You are running cover for Jeff Weaver for what? Not accurately highlighting why you guys lost will make it so we will not be able to adjust if you believe in electoral politics and win again. Once again, my position, to be 100% clear, because we just had this conversation with the Poor People's Army, my conversation is that we need to focus our efforts outside of the Democratic Party. We just had a conversation about housing takeovers with Cheri Honkala and how you can apply a direct action to improve people's lives. You can actually donate to mutual aid. You can donate to the Poor People's Army. You can donate to Affinity. Those are the things that we should be focusing on instead of electoral politics. That's my position. So that's why it makes no sense when you got the Sam Cedar left go after us when we are helping you with our strategies. The force of vote will help you guys because it allow you to primary the neoliberals that you guys are struggling against right now. Now, if you march for Medicare for all and that become a national headline because the squad, Nina Turner, AOC makes it a national headline, you just force that public debate again. Oh, once again, what's the excuse that Jordan for Status Quo make? What are the excuse from these people that are defending Nina Turner and her campaign are making? Oh, well, Ohio 11 districts is filled with a bunch of conservative Democrats. These Democrats are older. Nonsense. Look at the polls. Medicare for all is supported by 4 out of 5 Democrats. 4 out of 5. When you look at South Carolina, the state that Bernie Sanders lost to Joe Biden by a landslide, when they did the exit polling, 2 out of 3 of the voters, including Joe Biden supporters, supported Medicare for all. So you making the argument that you guys lost because of conservative voters, that does not make sense. Based on the exit polling, looking at the facts, and you got Status Quo repeating this. My friend, I like Status Quo. Like, I like these people. You got progressives repeating this stuff. Like, oh, this was a race that we could not win. This race, we could not win it because there are conservative Democrats in this district. If that's your take, if your take is that we cannot win Ohio 11th because dark money and because of conservative Democrats, then that means you are telling me that we cannot take over the Democratic Party. You realize that's your position, right? I outflank you on the left, and I actually got the conclusion that backs up your argument. You guys hear what I'm saying? My conclusion backs their argument up. My conclusion is I don't care if it's a red district. I don't care if it's a deep blue district. We can run on left ideas and we can win if we do it unapologetically. And we have good strategy. The argument that Jordan for Status Quo is making, the argument that a lot of these progressives are making that all the excuses for Nina Turner, like Kyle Kalinske, what a lot of these people are saying, they are saying that no matter how, that our argument cannot win these races. That if we run aggressive to the left, if we run on the Democratic Party being corrupt, we cannot win these races. So if that's your argument, that means we might as well not fucking donate. Why should I donate? Why should I canvass? Why should I spend my time on these races if you guys are telling me that we can't win? Do you guys see that? I'm asking the chat. I'm asking the comments. Do you guys see how they are not thinking rationally? Do you guys understand why Hampton Leftists is the only independent media that is actually fucking reporting this shit on facts and not emotion? Everything I heard from the progressives regarding the Nina Turner election has been trash. And then they get mad at me because what I'm saying hurts the feelings of the squad. It hurts the feelings of the progressive base. Sorry, I didn't get. Let me read to some comments. Excuses make it. I'm saying the excuses make it so. Well, whatever. I'm saying Jeff Weaver should never be hired again. I want to say more, but I think that's simple enough. Because I just want to talk about that earlier. And I'm asking the chat. We got about 100 people watching. Where am I wrong at? Because this whole thing started when I was reporting on the new study for healthcare. So because people are not coming out for you guys. So once again, they are not accurately describing the problem. They are claiming that they lose because of dark money. They claim that we lose because of conservative Democrats in these districts. And what I am saying is that is not true. That is not an excuse. I don't buy that. When you have 4 out of 5 Democrats, you guys understand that when they do these polls, that it's a landline poll. Where they're not polling independents, they're not polling me. They poll people who are registered Democrats. They are polling registered Democrats that is mostly older voters. And then 4 out of 5 of those people support Medicare for all. And you want to tell me that you lost because the voters in your districts are conservative? That doesn't add up. How does that make sense? You are not motivating people to come out to vote for you. You are not making you are not accurately making the difference between you and Chantel Brown. And they admit this because they say, oh, well, we was a little bit too late to go negative. Just like Bernie was on Biden. In 2012, when polls said that voters cared the most about who will beat Donald Trump more than anything else, that's what voters said. Voters said, we're going to vote for whoever we think will defeat Donald Trump. So then Bernie Sanders got on in front of millions of people on national television and said, I think that Joe Biden could defeat Donald Trump. How does that make sense? And then Joe Biden, while Bernie said Biden could defeat Trump, you have Biden and the neoliberal Democrats that said, hey, yeah, there's no way Bernie's going to win. The only way we can defeat Trump is if you elect Joe Biden. That's the message coming out of the Biden team. The message coming out of the Bernie team was, hey, it doesn't matter who wins between this Democratic nominee. We both can beat Trump. How does that make sense? How does it make sense when you focus only on attacking Republicans instead of making a difference between the progressive left and neoliberal Democrats? And this is what Nina was doing. Nina Turner was tweeting about January 6th. Nina Turner was tweeting about Trump. Why the hell are you running a campaign against the Democrats, but you are tweeting about Trump and you're using MSNBC talking points? You are supposed to be making the difference between the progressive left and the neoliberals, so people know why they should vote for you instead of them. So what you guys are doing, and you guys are saying Trump bad, Republican bad, and then you got like, oh, vote for us instead of neoliberal. Meanwhile, the neoliberal gets all this money from dark money in the Israel lobby, and then they bombard the market with ads. So if they bombard the market with ads, and then you are saying on your campaign that we got to defeat the Republicans, the voters will just see, they was thinking the last thing they heard. Oh, because remember what you saw on your campaign, we got to defeat the Republicans. And then when they go in the voting booth and they think, okay, what the last thing that I heard that we're going to defeat the Republicans with? The neoliberal, because they just play the ads. Jordan from Status Quo just said they had the ads. So you are not making an argument for these people. So when Bernie Sanders, when he ran his race, was like, oh, Donald Trump is the worst president of all time. Joe Biden is better than Donald Trump. When people went in the voting booth and they're not paying attention to politics, they was like, okay, what's the last name I heard? Who do I want to defeat Donald Trump with? Oh, I saw an ad with Joe Biden. I saw an ad with Chantel Brown. So I'm going to vote for that person. That's the dumb left. The people with these same strategies that keep losing. How does Sam Cedar and the majority report call us the dumb left when we have no power? When it was you guys who've been losing. You guys see what I'm saying? This is why I reject their argument. And unless we have a progressive left that is willing to actually look at these races and figure out why we lost, instead of coming up with bullshit, they're going to keep losing. Because this is why I want to float to you guys. If Nina Turner lost because of big dark money, do you guys think this will be the last race with dark money? Why are you guys talking about dark money like we didn't know this was going to happen? So are you guys was you guys caught off guard? Do you guys had no say? Do you guys had no plan for dark money entering your race? Do you guys think they're running out? The people that are funded by corporations with unlimited funds. Do you think they're not going to do the same strategy in 2022? So instead of casting blame, instead of yelling at other people, why not try and discuss strategy on how to overcome this? They're not even trying to figure out how to overcome the strategy. They're just so busy pointing fingers. So what I'm telling these people is, what is your strategy to overcome this? Because you understand that it was Bernie Sanders and Nina Turner. The two biggest names. Nina Turner is the biggest non-elected name right now. Non-elected name in politics right now is Nina Turner. And she couldn't overcome this strategy of them flooding dark money and having the centers coalesce behind their opponent. So when 2022 comes, who's going to overcome this strategy? You guys got cocky, and now you guys don't want to adjust because the managerial class, the Democratic Party, these people lost to AOC, they lost to Ilhan Omar, and they lost to Rashida Tlaib, and then they made adjustments. You hear me? The Democratic Party made adjustments after they lost to Cori Bush, after they lost to AOC, after they lost to Ilhan Omar, after they lost to Rashida Tlaib, after they lost to Mondaire Jones. And the progressives are not. So they're going to run the same strategy next year where they run a ton of dishonest ads against you, and they're going to flood the market the last week of the election. And then they're going to have a ton of centers come out and endorse against you. And I have not seen anything that showed me that progressives are going to adjust to this strategy. Because you know what's going to happen again? We're going to have another high-profile primary race in 2022. I don't know against who right now. But during this high-profile election, they're going to hire Jeff Weaver again. They're going to hire Jeff Weaver. They're going to have Bakari Sellers come out again. They're going to shut out the activists again. They're going to ignore our ask again. They're going to try to appeal to centrist voters again. And then they're going to lose because they don't learn their lesson. One last thing, because I didn't finish this point. My point was, what their argument was, Nina Turner she couldn't be the fire breather that we knew and loved. Because if she was the fire breather that we knew and loved, that would have turned off the centrist voters. So according to them, Nina Turner had to tone down her leftist rhetoric in order to win. First question to you guys. How is that working for you guys? How is this strategy working for you guys? You guys just tried the strategy. They just tried the strategy in 2020. The same strategy that Nina Turner said she disagreed with. Nina Turner was one of the people that told Bernie to go hard against Joe Biden. And it was Jeff Weaver, it was Chuck Rocha, it was Pramila Jayapal who disagreed with Nina Turner and said that we got to sound more like Democrats. And then they ran on that strategy and lost. Then Nina Turner ran a campaign and she adopts the same strategy that Bernie Sanders lost with? Do you see the moron that is running the progressive movement? You guys see this? They're clowns. There are clowns running the progressive electoral politics right now. And they wonder why I checked out, why I don't care no more. I'm not donating to you guys because you guys are clowns. Why should you donate to these fucking progressives when they can't even fucking figure out how to run a campaign? They're not even learning from their losses. So the argument that Jordan for Status Quo is making that she has to run as a centrist to win the voters. Meanwhile, they had low voter turnout. Your strategy is shit. That doesn't make sense. Once again, I told you guys the majority of Democrats support Medicare for all. The majority of people, 50% of voters, are independent now. The people do not like the Democratic Party establishment. The voters do not like the Democratic Party establishment, but you guys are running campaigns like the people do. You guys are running campaigns like the people want to hear you guys want to work with Democrats. So someone explain this to me, please. The people that have the strategy, once again, Sam Cedar and the Majority Report, they are tied with Justice Democrats to the hip. They follow their strategy. They blast their strategy out on the media. We've been following their strategy for how long, and we've been losing. How does this make sense? They're the dumb left. They're the one, like Nina Turner was up 35 points. They choked a 35-point lead, and then they want to blame activists. What the fuck? I'm about to lose my voice because I'm getting so, like, it blows my mind. It blows my mind. They blew a 35-point lead, and then they blame an activist, and they're making all the excuses like it's not their fault. That doesn't make sense. If you're claiming that we did blow a 35-point lead just because of money, you might as well pack your bags. You might as well give up. We're not going to win. If Nina Turner, who's going to do it? If not Nina. Horrible strategy. And then they want to lash out at us. Can't stress enough. That's why you have to start trying to Fred the Leftists, because I'll be going crazy right now, bro. Thank God. Thank God we got Fred the Leftists so I can debunk these people. Do not allow the privileged managerial left to make excuses for the failures, because they're excuses. They pushed us out of the conversation. They pushed poor black leftists and what they call the Jimmy Dore left, the dumb left, the people who don't like the Democratic Party. They pushed us out of power in the progressive spaces. They have consolidation of progressive power. They dictate progressive strategy. What I mean by that is Bernie Sanders and Nina Turner, they're not listening to the strategy of Fred Hampton leftists. They're listening to the strategy of Sam Cedar. They're listening to the strategy of Kyle Kulinski. They're listening to the strategy of David Pakman. They're listening to the strategy to Cenk Uygur and TYT. These are the people who move the strategy in the coordination of the Western left. These are the people who have influence. But despite the fact that they have influence, we lose. And then they blame us. And they say that we're the dumb left. You guys are the one who have horrible strategy. You are the guys who can't lose, who can't win. And they accomplished exactly what they wanted, by the way. You guys want to know what I'm talking about? I'm going to show you guys this. Since I'm having a fun time. Because the only thing Justice Democrats care about is being celebrities. I'm going to do another segment. Kind of fun. Because I always see these people. I got to find my tweet. It shouldn't take too long, guys. Hold on 1 second. I wasn't planning this segment, but fuck it. We're going to do it. Oh, come on. Where is it? That's the problem with having a Twitter like mine. My Twitter is a shit show. I can't find nothing on my timeline. How's the stream? I got one more story I want to run. Did I get any super chats? I'm sorry if I missed one. I think I saw one. I apologize, guys. I apologize for missing any super chats. I want to talk about AOC in this ad. Okay, let's start the segment. The Justice Democrats has been a failed strategy, a failed organization. I think even Kyle Kulinski would admit as much, right? I'm asking you guys, like, if you're watching, didn't Kyle admit that the Justice Democrats is a failed strategy? You know, the moment I knew, like, I've been turned off the Justice Democrats for a long time, but the exact moment. Do you guys want to know the exact moment they was irredeemable to me? The exact moment that the Justice Democrats was irredeemable to me, when I knew they was too far gone, was when they launched a campaign to support I'm blanking on a name. the cap lady, Neera Tanden, sorry. They launched a full-throated campaign to endorse Neera Tanden and give her a job in the Biden administration. When I saw that, I was like, okay, it's over. It's over. And I was like, any illusion that the Justice Democrats care about you is done. When I saw AOC eulogize John McCain, the war criminal John McCain, who is responsible for countless people dying in the Middle East, a war criminal, extreme hardcore racist who policies responsible for crashing the economy, funding multiple genocides, supported CIA coups and destabilization of the global South. One of the worst people in modern American history. John McCain. AOC gave him a eulogy. Meanwhile, Mike Gravel, anti-war hero, he dies. AOC says nothing. What does that say? Now, I saw this video today. Let me share my screen. Check this out. Look at this spotlight of AOC by CNN. Let's watch it. I will give our thoughts. Let's give our thoughts after we watch it here.
What's it like to be adored and reviled? Find out when I speak with Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez about being ambitious,
Power can be beautiful.
being terrified,
I was preparing myself for the worst.
and
Are you going to challenge Senator Schumer?
join me for Being, a new CNN series.
Monday at 9, only on CNN.
You guys see that? Now, what I said in my tweet, I said, do y'all really think shit libs? Do you really think the corporate media establishment will be propping up AOC like that if she was a threat to their power? This is our politicians, and this is the propaganda that is being driven to us to treat our ruling class like celebrities. And you guys understand that AOC and her fans want this. They got exactly what they wanted. They wanted AOC to be a celebrity. They didn't want us to force the vote because that would hurt AOC's career. They want her to play safe because they want to preserve her career. They love the clapbacks, the viral Twitter posts, all that stuff. Because this game, to like a lot of privileged people, is just a cult of personalities. And this is not even me just calling out the progressive left. This is probably the biggest problem that we have in politics right now. One of the biggest problems, and honestly is a tale as old as my life, honestly, is the way politicians are treated like celebrities in our culture. People got mad at Max Blumenthal for going to the Capitol and grilling Cori Bush. I want you guys to unpack what that means. People got mad at Franco from Franco Analysis for grilling AOC and the squad and her supporters. So let's break down what that means. That means you worship politicians to the point where you are mad at the activists. You are mad at the journalists for having the audacity of asking them questions. That is what this code of personality, this is what the celebrity the Hollywoodification of politicians, this is what it created. You guys don't believe me? Look at shitlib Twitter. Look at not even just shitlib Twitter. Look at AOC Twitter, AOC Hive, the Justice Democrat. They was heated. That was Sam Cedar was talking about. Now Tim Black is melting down about, apparently. You got the people that are mad at us for going hard at politicians. This is what propaganda did to people's mind and broke their brains. They broke people's brains to the point in which they are mad at journalists for calling out politicians instead of the politicians not being up to par of the citizen journalists. How does that make sense? Now, my point is, if you had LC, and I am 100% acknowledge this point, AOC had a really hard job. Because if AOC did exactly what we wanted her to do, if AOC was that fire breather that was willing to kill bills. If AOC and the squad killed the funding for the Capitol Police, despite the Democrats using January 6th to fund the police more, they would have got a ton of hate for the neoliberal corporate establishment. They would have been hated by the neoliberal corporate establishment if they shut down police funding after January 6th, instead of being complicit with it. Do you know how much the squad have been hated if they shut down the government in order for us to cancel rent, in order for cancel student loan debt? Do you know how much they'll be hated if they shut down spending in order to stand up against the apartheid state of Israel? They was complicit. Ilhan Omar and the squad were complicit in funding Israel more. There was the votes needed to fund the Israeli apartheid state more. Do you know how much they would be hated? Do you know how much AOC and the squad would be hated if they did what we want them to do, calling out the Democratic Party establishment? What happened instead? Instead, they're getting Spotlight series on CNN filled with softball questions. Now, to be 100% intellectually honest with you guys, I am not opposed to revolutionaries, to leftists going on CNN and spreading our message. But if you see this and you see what AOC is what this is about, let's go back to the clip so you guys see what I'm talking about. This is not the spotlight they should be doing. And even if they ask you to do a spotlight with them, you say no. We stay to the issues. We stay to listen. In this 30 seconds, I want to ask you guys, what issues are being discussed here?
What's it like to be adored
Love you back.
and reviled? Find out when I speak with Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez about being ambitious.
Why is the conversation? What is this conversation about? I would be like, no, we're not talking about that. We're talking about the fact that capitalism is a moral system. We're talking about the fact that Joe Biden funded the military more. We are talking about the fact that Joe Biden is expanding the embargo on Cuba. We are talking about the fact that Joe Biden and the Democratic Party is giving Israel more money. They're giving them more military weapons and military gear while they're committing a genocide in Palestine. That's what I'm talking to CNN about. People get mad at Jimmy Dore for going on Tucker Carlson, but Jimmy Dore going on Fox News to talk about Julian Assange and left ideas. AOC going on CNN and talk about nonsense. Let's continue this.
Power can be beautiful.
Now they're talking about January 6th. So instead of, look, watch this. They're talking about January 6th here.
I was preparing myself for the worst.
And are you going to challenge Senator Schumer?
See, by the way, if they ask me that, I'm going on a rant against Chuck Schumer and explain why he's corrupt. So my thing is to be honest, I am not against leftists doing this. But look at the context of this. If you invite me on CNN, I'm talking about the corruption of CNN. I'm gonna be on CNN like, yo, what about that Chris Cuomo situation? How can Chris Cuomo talk about his brother and cover for his brother during the sexual assault allegations? What about the conflict of interest? Like I'm going on CNN and I'm grilling them. You know who did that? You want to know who did that? Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart went on Crossfire and grilled CNN into their face. That's what Jon Stewart did. Are you telling me that Jon Stewart outflanks you? Jon Stewart is very moderate. Jon Stewart is, I would call him a liberal. He does a lot of good stuff, but he's honestly a liberal. He's not a leftist at all in stretch of imagination. But Jon Stewart is willing to go on CNN and willing to have an uncomfortable conversation with them. He wanted to go on CNN and diss them to their face. If you're a leftist, every time you go on MSNBC and CNN, you should be bringing up the fact that they're funded by weapon defense contractors. You should be bringing up the fact that they're bought up by Big Pharma. Why are you guys having civil conversation with these people? Once again, Emma, the majority report, a lot of these people, they want to pretend that the Red-Brown Alliance is a thing. They want to push the Red-Brown Alliance conspiracy theory. And I told you guys, there's no such thing as a Red-Brown Alliance because I've been around organizers. There are no left organizers that want to organize with Nazis. That doesn't exist. We don't want to organize with fascist war criminals. You know what does exist? The Blue-Brown Alliance. You see how Ro Khanna was propping up Bill Kristol, the person who was complicit in over millions of deaths in Iraq, destabilized the Middle East. He supports fascist crackdowns of the First Amendment. So there's not a red-brown alliance. There's a blue-brown alliance. You had Cori Bush making nice with Adam Schiff. Adam Schiff supports the genocide in Israel. Well, I should say the genocide in Palestine. See, I even got to catch myself on some bullshit talking points. See? The genocide in Palestine, because Israel is not real, to be clear. Adam Schiff, he supports giant military budgets. The extension alone is enough to pay for the homes for homeless people. We spent the military by about $80 billion. That's what Adam Schiff supports. But Adam Schiff was at Cori Bush protest pretending that he cared about homeless people. And then these people want to be nice to the politicians instead of calling him out. And then they was mad at Max Blumenthal for doing it. If you guys ain't seen it, check out my interview with Max Blumenthal. Yeah. Sorry, I haven't pinned comments, but yeah, Israel is not real, to be clear. I always got to correct myself whenever I say that there's a genocide in Israel. Once again, I got to deprogram myself too. So I'm like, no, it's a genocide in Palestine. Fuck a two-state solution. We tried. Back when I thought I was leftist, I used to think that we can have a two-state solution. Back when I didn't have a good understanding of the solution. Back when I didn't have a good understanding of the actual problem. I was still under propaganda, and I didn't even know it. I used to think like, yeah, you can have a two-state solution. You can have a state of Israel, a state of Palestine. No, that's ridiculous. Like in hindsight, that's like doesn't make sense. You mean the people that want to genocide the Palestinian people that is funded by the United States, that will continue to block the UN resolutions, who gives them a ton of military aid and a ton of money, and they want to genocide the Palestinian people? Sure, let's start a two-state where they're going to treat the Palestinian people equally. That doesn't make sense. That's progressive except Palestine. You got, like, once again, I try not to shit on Bernie Sanders because Bernie is better than Democrats on this issue, but that's his position. He thinks we should have a two-state solution. That does not make sense, bro. You understand the right wing faction in Israel just took over. Naftali Bennett, I will blank on his name for some reason. Naftali Bennett is to the right of Benjamin Netanyahu, and he was straight up open about the fact that we should take Palestine. He said the guy who is prime minister of Israel right now spoke about how we should take Palestine, and we should commit a genocide against the Palestinian people to do it. And he said it would be it'd be righteous and holy in order to do that. And you guys trust them to implement a two-state? What? No, there's only should be one state, Palestine, and everyone lives equally under the law. That's the solution. Because Israel doesn't exist. Israel is a colony within Palestine. They always want to pretend, and I remember I fell for this too when I first get into politics. Back when I was more liberal minded, but I thought I was a lefty, but I was liberal minded and I didn't know it. I fell for the talking point of thinking like, yo, Israel Palestine is like this super complicated. Like, man, there's a lot to actually look into and read into that. I was fence sitting, just because I didn't want to read into it, right? Then once you read into it, you look in the history, you're like, bro, Israel is just a colony of Palestine. Like they colonized in Palestine. What? This is not complicated. You had this country, Israel, that was made up, that is backed up by powerful military powers that colonizing the Palestinian people. Oh, this is a complicated issue. No, it's not. That's straight. How far off topic that straight? I was talking about AOC, but I think we wrapped that segment up. You guys see what I'm talking about? I can't wait to talk to Kareem Batesh on Tuesday. You guys seen my episode with Kareem Batesh? He's a professor out of Hong Kong, and we talk about foreign policy for 90 minutes. Man, I'll tell you, I've been loving these like 90-minute foreign policy conversations, especially with like this guy is an expert, PhD, and I'm having these conversations with these people. They have a very underrated show, and we're going to do a stream on Tuesday where we talk about more foreign policy, because like we just talked about with Cheri Honkala, the Poor People's Army. Like foreign policy is everything. If you're not focused on foreign policy, and that's not a giant part of your leftism, you're missing one giant piece of the puzzle. All right, I'll get you some questions, then we can call it. Hopefully, y'all enjoy. Hopefully, you guys enjoying. If you liking the stream, if you're new, I got hiccups. That's why I keep doing that. I got hiccups and shit. Make sure you subscribe. Yeah, this is them right here. Bet Beat Media. Sorry if I said that right. But yeah, check these people out. They're good on US imperialism. I think the topic of our conversation is our political evolution, because Kareem Batesh is friends with someone who used to be, in their words, really right-wing and bigoted. But he went through a political evolution. We're going to talk about that. And my personal political evolution as well, as someone who used to be a little bit more liberal-minded. Yeah, I need to have a follow-up conversation with Medhurst. But anyway, that's what we're going to talk about with Bet Beat Media, is our political evolution. And we're obviously going to talk that with foreign policy, because that's my role in Frampton Leftists. Like, we are bringing powerful tools to the table. Like, you just saw Facts and Fire with Finney. But state violence, foreign policy, and the class war is my focus. This person, like, how can you support Hamas? I support anyone's right to defend themselves when their country is under siege and when they're under genocide. Is that clear? Leftists need to stop apologizing for this shit. Oh no, I support the people who are defending themselves, even though Israel is literally sniping their kids. They're kicking people out of their homes. So let me propose a question to you. If Russia just stomped into the United States and started kicking people out of their homes and saying, imagine they went to Ohio. Imagine if Vladimir Putin went to Ohio, started kicking people out of their homes, like, yo, this is now Russia. And then Americans react to Russia kicking people out of their homes in Ohio, and then we react to that and defend ourselves against Russia. Would you be like, why are you defending the Americas against Russia? Like, what? Will you guys get serious? I'm sure Hamas believes in some stuff that I probably find abhorrent, but if there's a genocide being done against your people, I'm not going to be against you defending yourself. Why do you support Hamas? What? If someone punched you in your face, I'm going to support you punching them back. And your personal beliefs have literally nothing to do with whether I should support you punching that guy in the face for punching you or not. Palestinians are losing their kids because the insane response of the Israeli government. And then the Israeli government admits this. They admit to overreacting. Oh, this is Mel. Hey, Mel, hold up. Oh, hey. I'm about to get my friend. I need to get my friend on here. Okay. This is what Bet Beat said. See, once again, this is why I love Kareem. He's a foreign policy expert. Hamas is an anti-colonial organization. They all have the right to fight back. Hating Hamas is pure Orientalist racism indoctrinated by the white supremacists. See, that's exactly the kind of response I would expect from Kareem, my man. See, my thing is, like, I can make anti-imperialist arguments on the merits of being anti-imperialist. I'm like, bro, I don't even have to talk about Hamas as as an organization, right? As an organization. I can just tell you guys that they have the right to fight the Israeli occupation. But I love this comment. Good stuff. Maybe we can talk about that a little bit on Tuesday, Kareem. Yep, David. Israel does not exist. What are your thoughts on the latest Tim Black rant? He friends with Reset Race. These people they just do what they do. They are focusing on negativity instead of actual Black liberation because it's good for their business model. That's all I gotta say. They're deeply unserious people. Because based on what I've seen, his rant is like Tim Black's rant was based on him trying to defend Nina Turner. and you was mad at people being mean to Nina Turner. The idea that you get mad at people for getting mad at me to being mean to a politician, you're a clown. That's like clown shit. Like, you guys heard what I say. You guys saw my response to the Nina Turner election. Like, you always hold politicians accountable. So I don't got much else to say other than that. Because his rant was based on him being mad that people are mean to Nina Turner. Boo-hoo. Nina Turner, she's a grown woman. She's a strong woman. She can take care of herself. Like, that's the reality of the situation. Like, this is not me. Like, this, like, I'm not causing. Like, I'm just answering a question. Like, I'm sure Tim may do some good work. I just don't follow the show. But if he's making call out videos, he calling Bree a white girl or whatever, that shit is uncalled for. Like, that's like ridiculous, and that's not the solidarity that we are trying to grow. Like Reset Race, Tim Black, they focus on anti-solidarity. And this anti-solidarity nonsense. You know what I mean? It's all ego. Like, what I do is nothing. It's not about ego. It's about solidarity. Reaching out and understanding people. Like, what they're doing is the worst faith interpretation of people's beliefs. And that's what a lot of these people do in our media, leftist spaces. They take the worst interpretation of activists and people who means well, and they want to convince their audience that these people are bad faith actors. And like, how does that benefit our movement? What we doing at Hampton Leftists is that we want to reach out and have these conversations. Like, when I disagree with someone, I'm like, I'd rather have a conversation with you, right? Yeah, like, this response by Ware is a substantive response to what Tim Black was saying, because Tim Black got mad at Bree for Nina lost. I haven't seen it because it doesn't interest me. It's a stupid anti-solidarity shit to get him clicks. Like, my channel, and we would blow up way more if we just made call-out videos all the time. We are not trying to take the easy way out at Fred Hampton Leftists. Like, you guys see that people get a lot of views and they just talk about drama. They just do call-out videos all the time. Like, I'd rather talk about state violence. Like, look at this video. If you watch the replay, go back to the stream. Look what we talk about. We talk about imperialism. We talk about strategies on how to survive capitalism. These are not sexy ideas. These ideas does not give you a lot of clicks. That's why we only got 7,000 subscribers. We just started and our growth is rapid, but we are growing doing the right thing. We are growing covering the issues, right? We are covering the issues and we are holding politicians accountable. But these people want you to believe that activists are the bad guys, that people fighting for healthcare are the bad guys, that people fighting for Black liberation are the bad guys. And what for? It's for their clicks. Like, they only get it for their clicks. You guys cannot make the argument to me that Tim Black video calling out Brandon Joy, calling out everybody, you cannot make the argument to me that helps the left. Is that your argument? Like, Reset Race videos, Tim Black videos, these videos do not help Black liberation. Like, are we closer to Black liberation because of Tim Black's video, or are we further away? I would argue we further away because you guys are distracting from the real issue. Like, your enemy is Breonna Joy Gray instead of the police state. Your enemy is Breonna Joy Gray instead of the white supremacist system, the carceral state that's tearing us down. These are the things that I focus on. And you focus on drama? Like, it's ridiculous. Like, I'm not focused on that nonsense. And as a content creator, it hurts us. Like, I got a lot of followers on Twitter. Like, I could get a lot more subscribers on YouTube if I, like, just focus on nonsense. But I don't. I want to focus on liberation. The only reason I'm even talking about this because I'm responding to your guys' chat, right? You guys see, watch my videos on Fred Hampton Leftists. You guys see what I'm talking about. I'm challenging the police state. I don't challenge the bill in their class. I don't challenge the politicians. I am not calling out Black leftists. Like, if you're calling out Black leftists because we wrong on the tape, what are you accomplishing for our community? You guys really don't think I disagree with some Black leftists sometimes? How important is this disagreement for you to drop a video on that instead of focusing on our oppressors? It doesn't make sense. Well, it does make sense when you realize it's just for clicks. You know what I mean? So you're not gonna get that. You're not gonna see me make a lot of call. Cause I see a lot of leftists. I be on Twitter. I see them say dumb shit. But when I see people say dumb shit, I'm like, okay, they're not a politician. You know what I mean? They're not a person of massive political influence. So why are you wasting your time punching up and creating drama between black leftists? That doesn't make sense. Once again, I don't agree with a lot of these people say, but why will you do that? See, the thing is, if I could have responded to this question with a scathing critique of Tim Black, and that would have got a lot of views. But I don't want to do that. I'm just asking how effective you guys are being. Not sure how effective you're being. I think it's more about your clicks than anything else. Oh, that's my brother. 1 second, guys. A lot of people watch on talk shit.
I thought it was 30-minute show.
It was a 30-minute show, but
Nah,
I'm just talking shit. It's all good. That's my brother. We ain't ready to watch the UFC fights tonight. Jose Aldo fight tonight. They got a UFC interim heavyweight title fight, but I don't care. I don't care about the interim title fight because Francis Ngannou is the champion, so it'll be a good fight. But I'm more interested in watching Jose Aldo fight. My man. Who is Sabi said? I know Sabi got a much better take than me probably on this. Sabi said coming after the black female podcaster instead of white supremacy and Democratic Party. Hey, there's a lot of people, they want to take the easy way out. They're obsessed with taking the easy way out. What we do, we attack politicians. We attack billionaires. We attack the people with power. That's harder to do, right? The easy thing to do is to do what Tim Black did and make a video calling out Brandon Joy Gray because you know the Democratic Party establishment already doesn't like her. So I guess you're trying to get the anti-Breed views. Once again, my question is, how does that help our community? How does that help the black community? It doesn't. It's for clicks, for views. We just had a conversation about the 16 points of unity. Like, that's the title of this live stream. What you guys are doing is violating the points of unities. How are we supposed to fight the corporate establishment? How are we supposed to fight white supremacy if you guys are so busy making diss videos about other black leftists? Bro, I'm telling you, Ben Shapiro, you have Brooklyn Dad, Ben Shapiro, TYT. They are looking at what you guys are doing and they are laughing. They're loving what you guys are doing. They see black leftists attacking other black leftists over small disagreements. It's amazing. Yeah, just like my friend Kareem said, we don't join in on divide and conquer. You guys claim, these people claim they read theory. They claim they're intelligent. They claim they're left-wing intellectuals, but they fall for divide and conquer. They fall for the most easiest to spot nonsense. Let's see. We got super chat. Abolitionists, please abolish the police state. Cornel West gets enough airtime on Democracy Now. I agree with the policy demand he put here, but I don't know what the second point. I don't know what the second sentence is about. What the third sentence? So I'm with you here. Abolitionists, please abolish the police state. Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. But then this part is like, what? Dr. Cornel West get enough airtime on Democracy Now. Like, I feel like with those two things on court. Anyway, thank you for the super chat. We need to elevate Dr. Cornel West instead of Candace Owens. Right? I need to wrap up soon. It's fun though. But yeah, you gotta make me do that rant. Now Tim Black and Reset Ray's gonna be mad. Because Reset Ray's been thirsty for us to mention them for a long time. Their whole channel is just them starting black drama, and they've been wanting to call us out for a long time. And I said their name, so you know they're gonna release a 30-minute video about it. Shout out to friend of the show, Nolly D. Last point is I have no patience for the anti-solidarity black left. They're the black left who they have no solidarity with anyone other than their own ego. They want to be the authority on every single issue. They want to be the authority on reparations. They want to be authority on X or Y. Instead of actually listening to their brothers and sisters, having conversation with their brothers and sisters, trying to see where their brothers and sisters are coming from, and trying to figure out how we can move forward in a collective consciousness in the best way for. Instead of doing that, they focus on drama and ego fighting. That's what these people are doing. What we are doing, we're focusing on building a multiracial coalition and building solidarity among the people who are victims of capitalism and state violence. So what I tell people is we need figure out strategy on how to survive a post-capitalist society. How are we going to even get there when you got people focusing on beefs because the premise is defending politicians? Who you got, Derek Lewis or Gain? Let me tell you guys this. If we can wrap it up on some fun fight talk. Derek Lewis is a much more intelligent fighter than people give him credit for. If you guys don't know, Derek Lewis is the heavyweight. He fighting for the interim heavyweight title. He is known for his insane knockout power. He's not the most technical fighter though, and he's been known for that. But he's known for these insane come from behind knockout wins. But after witnessing these knockouts, now he's one of the knockout leaders in the UFC. There's a lot of people that think he's a sloppy fighter who just wing haymakers. That's not the case. What Derek Lewis does, he does a really good job baiting people in. Like he'll get hit and then he will act hurt. He'll bait you in and then he'll throw the overhand. That's how he caught Volkov. That's how he catches these people. He knocks people out because he gives them the false sense of security of thinking he's hurt, thinking he's tired. He's a very crafty fighter. So if I had to guess, I guess it would be him. But I care about I want Jose Aldo to do really well. But anyway, I think we had about 90 minutes. We had a good show today. Sorry I didn't get to the rest of the comments. Maybe I'll do a stream on my personal YouTube channel, breaking down some more fights because, like Dr. Corner West himself said, we got the revolution. We can't be a no fun leftist group. Like we gotta have fun. Like we gotta have fun. We gotta have the revolution with soul. So maybe I'll talk about some fights some more. But it should be fun. I'm gonna watch prelims now. So thank everyone for watching this Social in May. If you guys if you want to support the stream, donate to us on Ko-fi. You can find our links on FredHamptonLeftist.com. I also stream at nights on my YouTube channel, Socialist MMA. I'm on Twitter, Socialist MMA. We have the JB show tomorrow, Sunday. JB. And speaking of Dr. Cornel West, we talk about Cornel West. I am trying to get him back on. There, I said it. So maybe next week. Dr. Cornel West said he's open to do next week. So I'm gonna try and get Dr. Cornel West back on so we can talk about the dark Republican money and the Israeli money that Democrats team up with. So you guys are getting the first announcement on that. Hopefully I'm not jumping the gun, but he agreed to come on next week. So we're just trying to set that up. That's going to be a super episode. We had Dr. Cornel West on last May, but it's going to be amazing to talk to that guy again. So anyway, check out JB tomorrow. Thank you guys for watching. This is Nick. Sign off. Peace out.